All right, we are live. Cara Fautley, welcome to the future of fitness, my friend.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Eric. Great to be here.
It's good to have you. I was just sitting down this week we're in Q4 right now, and as we record this, and going over like next year's planning for 2025, like the
Yeah,
events I want to go to, what I would consider a priority. And there's a handful of them, but definitely connected health and fitness is always in the top three since I've
that's good to
become
know.
aware of it and just the experience of what you guys do there, Kasako. And I always get a lot out of it. Like it's small enough. I know you guys are making changes this year, and we'll talk about that or next year, 2025. It's small enough and intimate enough. It seems to be a really nice curated mix of like, founders and executives and investors and you name it. I mean, you can tell me more how you guys do that, but it's a great event. So you guys do a great job, and I'm excited to talk about it here. So maybe before we talk about 2025 and what you guys do and how you differentiate in the marketplace of events, because there just seems to be more and more events popping up
Yeah.
within our industry, which I don't think is a bad thing. But give us your background, Cara. Like, how'd you get into this? And I know you've done some athletic. I think it was dance specifically, right?
Yeah.
Was kind of your entrance into fitness. So yeah, tell us about yourself, and we'll take it away.
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess I've always worked in the event space. Actually starting off in property and real estate events is where I kind of started my career, shall we say. But yeah, like you said, I've kind of always been active throughout my life, just in terms of passion and interests. I was dancing from the age of 4, and then kind of went into teaching dancing at a later stage as well. So that's kind of always been on a personal level, something I really enjoy, and that obviously leans into having to kind of be into fitness and activity, having that kind of level of strength training and cardio just to align with my dance training. So yeah, I think I love the event space, and I did enjoy my time in property, but very quickly thought and moved over to the fitness side because that's more of a passion of mine. And I think even the people that we get in our room, in our community, people in the fitness and health industry in general, you can tell it's more of a lifestyle for them. Just the energy in the room, the passion for what people are doing. It's not just a 9 to 5. I think you can really sense that, and that's what I
Hmm.
love about it. I love how genuinely enthusiastic our audience is. So that's kind of why I moved over to the fitness and health side and started working on our event, Connected Health and Fitness.
Yeah, awesome. Uh, what kind of dance did you do?
I did a mix, mainly ballet and then some tap and commercial. So yeah, that's kind of where it all kicked off from. And I think, like I said, you have to have a kind of level of strength and cardio training for
Oh yeah.
that as well. So yeah, that's kind of where it all kicked off. My passion for kind of the fitness and health industry.
I mean, the training for ballet is kind of brutal, right?
Yeah.
Like it's not easy.
No, definitely not easy. Yeah, it definitely takes a level of strength. I think you're starting to see a lot more workouts now actually come through that has a kind of base in ballet. So like
Mhm.
Pilates, for example, obviously that's such a kind of booming area of fitness at the moment. And that has a lot of its basics and core coming through from ballet. So kind of that kind of shows. And I think anyone that has done a Pilates class will agree it's definitely not as easy as you might initially think it will be. You can feel it the next day.
Yeah, I ran a CrossFit gym for a long time, and you got to see as people came into CrossFit or tried it for the first time, you got to see different backgrounds, like where they came from, what sports, what athletics, what they did, and dancers and gymnasts. Man, I tell you, when they came into CrossFit, it was just like, it just didn't even seem difficult for them. Like most people would be like, oh, this is so hard. But the training that they're used to and just the body awareness and, how easy the movements were for them to take on and learn, it was really fascinating. As soon as I got like a dancer or a gymnast in the gym, I was like, oh, this is going to be great. This is going to be like the easiest. They're going to make me look great as a
Yeah.
coach. Right.
Yeah.
So
That's what you want.
it was like, that's exactly that's all I really wanted. Now, so tell us, I think a lot of people don't realize really what may make you guys different as an event, and that being like what Kasako Research is, because you guys do a lot of different events across a lot of different industries. So maybe give us some insights into what you guys do as a whole.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Kosako Research is, our company in general. We do run kind of community. We have communities, and we build communities, and we have summits across a few industries. People probably don't know that about us. Obviously, I sit within the connected health and fitness space. But what is, I guess, the pattern across all of the communities we're building and all of the summits that we run is, kind of from the name Kosako Research. It is that research piece is so important to us. So all of our communities, our summits, our conversations are very carefully curated. Our head of program for each event, we also have a research team. They all year round are really continuously connecting with leaders in the space, our advisory board, some of our key partners in that industry to all year round understand what's new, what's coming up, kind of keeping at the front of the latest news and partnerships and just being in that area. And especially when it comes to building out our program for our summits and our content, that comes off the back of about 10 weeks of back-to-back research calls for that team. And that's research calls with some of our kind of recurring attendees, our partners. Obviously, we do have a dedicated advisory board of kind of specific fitness and health leaders for that. And all of that research that we do, that kind of 8 to 10 weeks with the research and content team, that really brings out who do people want to hear from on which specific topics, what are the challenges, where are the partnerships happening, who's investing in what. And all of that detail really is what I think makes our program so curated and kind of brings out the most important conversations and the best speakers and leaders to talk to each topic. So yeah, that's a bit of background about the company as a wider company and why I think our event is that curated program style.
Yeah, awesome. Who can you share like who's on the advisory board for this year? Some
Yeah,
people.
absolutely. So we have, as always, we do like to keep it a mix across the fitness and health space. So we have the likes of Nike, Solid Core, Google Health, North Castle Partners, Midtown, John Brady, Hyperice. It's a real mix. We want to bring in, I guess, experts from all across the health and fitness side. Something that will, I'm sure, come up more in this kind of conversation is for 2025, more than ever, we really are kind of expanding more into that alignment of fitness and health, and how kind of each one leans into the other. So it's important for us to have, the recovery expert as part of it, nutrition experts as part of it. Google Health is obviously a big part of those conversations, as well as your Solid Cores, your Nikes, and so on. So it's a real mix across the industry.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It is a really interesting time for our industry, and I've been doing this for a while. At least being, within the industry, an official role about 16, 17 years, and the way I describe it now, and if people listen to this, probably tired of me saying this, but like we're undergoing a rebrand, whether we know it or not. Like
Yeah,
we're fitness is changing. It's becoming, preventative health. It's becoming
yeah,
longevity. It's becoming precision wellness, whatever you want to call it. There's a million names, doesn't really matter, but it is changing and it's becoming, kind of the forefront of health, which is awesome. This is what we always wanted,
yeah,
right? We wanted this, and it's happening. So we just got to figure out how to leverage it appropriately. So you guys do a lot of research. Got
yeah.
it. You identified the trends. You want to provide the best speakers, partnership opportunities, things like that. So give us the goods. Like what's going to happen in 2025? What dust
What's
off the
new?
crystal ball and tell the future.
Yeah, for sure. I think a couple of main things in terms of, the overall theme for 2025, kind of similar to what I just touched on. It's really about leading the next generation of holistic health through fitness. So it's that
Yeah.
alignment and kind of how we lean on fitness to improve the holistic health side. That's kind of the overall theme of conversations. And that trickles down into a few key areas for us. One, like you already touched on, that longevity piece, preventative health. Longevity and preventative health is one of the key themes. Then secondly, in terms of, at our core, we are always going to have the fitness side of gyms and studios and boutiques. So kind of just innovation in the fitness space, digitalization, use of technology, AI, but not just kind of AI as a buzzword, but what are the real benefits of AI and where are we actually seeing people that are using it successfully now and how are they doing that? Even think elements like gamification, that's something that I'm particularly excited by conversations around that. I think the fact of using gamification to tap into that market that currently is not active. And, you know, if you can just tap into a few more percent of that market through that gamification, then, you know, what can that do for the industry? What can that do for the gyms and studios, and kind of increase their revenue and all of that stuff? So that's within that digitalization and tech in fitness. Community and social wellness is another key area that will always be a focus for us, as well as, you know, every event needs to think about inclusion, diversity, and women's health. That will, year on year, that's always going to be a key element for us. But I think the biggest focuses for 2025 that are a bit different is, yeah, going back to that holistic health side. For that, we are opening up to a few more different stakeholders. So kind of more inclusion from the pharma side, more holistic health leaders, some focus on destination wellness, some kind of directors and heads of wellness from different hotel chains. They'll be part of these conversations to lean into that side, and conversations around, you know, GLP-1. I mean, it's definitely a controversial topic at the moment, and everyone's talking about it. So, you know, getting that actually as a debate as part of the conversations is key for us. You know, is it an entry point or is it a threat? And having different people's views from across the fitness and health side. Yeah, these are some of the key things for 2025 that we are super excited about.
Yeah, it is a debate.
It
I think
is
that's
a
the best way
debate.
to put
That would
it.
be an
Yeah, and
interesting
is it
one.
yeah, is it like physically going to be a debate when you guys put on stage? You can have
Yeah,
people with opposing
absolutely.
views.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We don't want everyone on that panel to be agreeing at all. It's got to be people that see it in different ways. So we have some people from the fitness side. We have the American Diabetes Association as part of that
Mm.
conversation, which I think adds a really interesting layer. But yeah, they all have very differing views into whether this is just a starting point to get people into fitness and health, or actually no, it's a threat. And it's not kind of the right way for us as fitness and health leaders to be looking at, you know, preventative health and longevity and nutrition. It's going to be harmful. So I think that will be one of the particular conversations I'm looking forward to, and just because I think all those different angles could get heated in a fun way, shall we say. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that. I mean, it's you go to these events, and I love like mutual respect and all that stuff that happens on
Yeah,
stage. But every once in a while, I want to hear like, well, yeah, Kara,
I
I
disagree.
actually 100% disagree with you on that. I'm like,
Yeah. Yeah.
fun. Yeah, all right, let's do it.
Well, what's the
Because
point
that's
of a
good. I mean,
panel? What's the point of a panel of everyone that just says, yeah, I agree, yeah, I agree? There's
yeah,
no
I really
value.
respect your opinion, and I agree with you. You're like
Yeah.
boring, right? Yeah. How about I mean, you mentioned some really good ones on GLP-1, American Diabetes Association. I mean, you guys are looking to kind of pull speakers from outside of what would be considered like the normal speaking circuit within the
Yeah.
industry. Maybe give us some insights, and we can dive into some of the other ones like longevity, health, the forefront of health, right? That talk back, like who are you guys looking to get for those types of topics
Yeah.
specifically?
For sure. I think the longevity piece is really interesting in the fact that there's a lot of different aspects to that, right? So, firstly, there's the element of, you know, as we're all saying, fitness is a huge part of that. So, physical activity leaning into the longevity piece, but then also elements of, you know, nutrition and sleep and actually the recovery side. So, I think for that conversation, it needs to have all of those different elements, experts from each area are talking about that. We have Amway, who are one of our partners, speaking on that from a nutrition side, which I think is really key. So yeah, I think kind of all of those different elements of nutrition, sleep, rest, recovery, as well as the inclusion of fitness, and how does that play a huge key part? And those elements, how do they line up together, and what partnerships are there in this space, to bring each of those elements together?
Uh, Obviously, longevity is a big deal here in the United States,
Yeah,
right? It seems to be. Is that? I mean, is it? And U.S. tends to be a little U.S. central focused. We kind of focus inwards a lot.
yeah.
Is that trend happening outside of the country as well? Is it in the UK, in Europe? Where else is it popular?
Yeah, absolutely. I think probably in the US, you guys maybe were a little bit further ahead with bringing actually the term longevity kind of to the forefront. But in the UK, very similarly, and you know, I mean, no one wants to talk about it anymore. But off the back of the pandemic, right? That really
Hmm.
did shift the view of how people exercise, how people are physically active, and why. You know, historically, it's probably came from a place of physical activity to improve your physical body image. And I don't think that's a bad thing at all. I think that still should be a part of it. To feel good is all connected with it. But also coming out of the pandemic, and obviously a lot of people realized they had um, maybe different kind of health issues that they weren't so aware of or weren't so maybe understanding of. People have come out of that pandemic with a real different view on, okay, holistic health is important. I don't want to kind of just ignore this anymore, which maybe was something that was happening previously. And the use of physical activity to not just improve your physical body image, but also to improve your long-standing health, and looking at health as preventative instead of waiting until there's something kind of wrong or things getting worse and then going to your GP or doctor to sort that. Looking at it as a real tool to improve your preventative health and physical health. That was a real shift, especially coming off the back of pandemic and COVID. So, there was nothing nice about the pandemic, but I think that is a nice mind shift actually that has come off the back of it, is that people really are taking their health a lot more seriously now.
Yeah. It's and I appreciate that insight because here in the United States, I think even now that we're talking post-election and whatever people want to say, if our focus refocus with RFK Jr. being, assigned to the Department of Health, and
Yeah.
what that means for our country, because we're very, I don't think people realize we're very close to bankruptcy if we let our healthcare costs continue to climb the way they do,
Yeah.
and obesity and metabolic disease and all of those things. And, it's not like, who was I talking to? Was it Mia Kirikos? Yeah, she was like, listen, it's not like we have to create demand anymore in the United
Yeah.
States. Like, the demand is there. People want to be healthier. People need to get healthier. Like, there's a lot of things that we need to do. So we just need to create the place where it's easy for them to access, meet them where they are, and get them in, and have the right offerings with, that aren't quite as like, in the typical fitness industry we've had for the last decades. It's like, it's got to be hard work. It's got to be painful. It's got to be da da da, right? It's like, no, we can
Yeah.
actually do wellness solutions that, are more attractive and a little bit less abrasive for people to kind of get on board. So I think, here in the States, it's really important. It's not just business opportunities now. It's like, we're actually critically important to the future of our country if we can,
Absolutely.
start to make an impact, because and that's where the GLP-1s, this is just one man's opinion, but like, no, do I like it? Do I like that pharmaceutical companies are going to make a ton of money off of something that never really should have existed in the first place? No, I hate
Mm.
it. I hate it.
Yeah.
But like, this is where we are, right? And
Yeah.
that's something that we're going to have to deploy if we want to, not go bankrupt as a country, and have a lot of pain and suffering along with it. So anyway, that's my cheery outlook on
Yeah.
things.
No, it's completely right though. And it's, I think it's also going back to, with the GLP-1 thing, is it also just making it more of a opportunity for people that currently don't see if you are overweight, if you're obese, that's a very daunting thing to then go into a gym or a fitness class.
Yeah.
So is it just that easing into it that maybe the GLP-1 can provide? And that's also, I think, with the fitness industry now, you see so many different types of workouts, right? And I also, I think that's a nice angle of, fitness doesn't have to be, of course, like you said, it's an issue, and this is going to be a way around it, but it also should be enjoyable. So it
Yeah.
doesn't have to be running on a treadmill every day for hours. It can be, do you like boxing? You can do a boxing class. Do you like Pilates? You can do you want to do yoga? And I think all that kind of, the variety that's there now within fitness, and kind of keeping it more focused on being fun and enjoyable for the consumer, I think is also really important. And I feel it has improved a lot over the last few years.
Yeah. Pickleball, is that big over there in the
Yes,
UK?
yeah, it feels like a little bit out of nowhere.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I never had it on my bingo card that
No,
we were going to be like,
you said
pickleball would
5
be the
years
most.
ago, the big fitness trend in 2024, 2025 will be pickleball.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone would have believed you, but there
No,
you go.
no, I wouldn't have believed myself. I think to that angle of making things enjoyable, and you mentioned, community, social wellness. I think that's really important, right?
Yeah.
And so give us some insights into like maybe the speakers or the topics that you guys are covering in that area, and what that looks like for 2025 and beyond.
For sure. I think there is a key topic at the moment that I don't actually know how much I can say on yet, because we're just
Mm.
firming up some speakers before we put it out there. But I think it goes back to I think it's especially around the community piece, right? And I think it also leads into that inclusion side, and feeling like you are welcome in these spaces and it is for everyone. That's something that I think a lot of not only the gyms and studios, but also the different types of, I guess, workout classes are being specifically cautious of now. Some particular workouts do come with a stereotype. So there are particular classes you think of a particular type of person that will be in that group, and you maybe think that isn't for you. And I think it's just opening up the mindset of that. I actually had a call a few weeks ago with a company that did they do in-person Pilates classes, and they also have Pilates beds that go into kind of people's houses for at-home workouts. And they said the in-person workout classes for, in the Pilates area are pretty much all women for them, but all of the ones that are going into the home are pretty much all men. And I found that
Really?
really interesting. So that's almost like,
Yeah.
is that because they feel that, actually in the studio it's going to be all women, it's not for me? And that feels like, if that is the case, that's a real shame, that just because that mindset of this is how you imagine that workout class would be filled with this particular type of person, it's not for you. You have to kind of go and do it, behind closed doors. It just seems silly, but there is that angle and there is that aspect of these different types of workouts. So I think that's also where we want to angle that conversation. It's a bit of both. And I think, yeah, it's something that I think there needs to be a real mindset shift across these different workouts, and just making it really clear this is an inclusive, class. This is an inclusive workout style.
Yeah. Isn't that funny? Like when most people think
Yeah.
about exclusive, they think about maybe the gritty, sweaty, you know, a lot of weights, a lot of grunting, that type of
Yeah.
thing, which is not it's not
But it will
inclusive to
experience that.
people, like more
Yeah.
to like, the female, or maybe people have never been in athletics. But it's like on the other side, it's true. And I can speak to this personally, is like when I had injured my back 10, 12 years ago, and I couldn't do a lot of things I wanted to do. I couldn't lift weights. I couldn't do a whole
Yeah.
lot. So I'm like, well, screw it. I guess I'll go do yoga. And then I'm like, well, maybe I'll try one of these Pilates classes, guy, the membership. Only guy in there, super intimidated. It was really hard. Like, I don't know how, like, we're doing all these ab exercises. I don't know how everyone was doing it. I was like done within like 30
Yeah.
seconds. I couldn't even hold my legs up anymore. And so there, I think you're right. I mean, and guys are terrible. We'll never admit that we're intimidated by something.
Yeah. Because there's
Would
all these
rather just suffer in
conversations, right,
silence.
about inclusivity more from like the woman's point, exactly like you said. So,
Right.
I mean, I think every woman has probably experienced that feeling of going into a gym and it's, kind of a floor of men, like you said, lifting weights
Yeah.
and grunting, and you can have that, especially when you're just kind of starting out on a fitness journey, it can be like, oh, very daunting. This is maybe not the place for me. But it's very rare that you look at it actually from the other point of view, I feel. And then on agendas, there's not often that conversation. And I just thought that, that story of Pilates in studio versus at home, and, there's such a split in and how they were being used, was so interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a couple other topics I want to get into here. I guess you mentioned boutiques. And with
Yeah.
your guys' research, I know it hasn't been the best year for boutiques. They've had some serious headwinds, between just cost of openings and real estate, and everything. Costs are up. That's it.
Yeah.
Costs are up. It's hard to find, good trainers and coaches and high quality staff. So on the flip side of like the trends that are up, what trends are you guys seeing that are starting to go down a little bit
What trends are going down? That's a good
from
question.
like
I mean, we
previous
actually,
years?
I will say, in terms of the boutiques, that's a good point. But surprisingly, we have still seen an uptake in boutiques registering. So
Oh, good.
it's definitely I mean, I guess it's something that we wondered if it would be affected, and affecting how the audience split looks, but it's not. And that's one of our sweet spots for the event. Actually, is, yeah, we do obviously have the bigger gyms, but we do have that sweet spot of a lot of different types of boutiques and studios that we love. So we're very pleased about that. Um, I'm trying to think of trends that are kind of going down from previous. I wouldn't say trends that are going down, but I would say, in terms of especially that piece of digitalization in fitness and technology use in fitness, I would say it's a very different conversation to what it was last year. And so I think it's, for us, especially the AI term, I would say we are being very cautious not to just throw that word out there. It can be seen as a buzzword now, and everyone, I think, maybe previous years, it was more of a conversation of, yes, we want to include AI. It was kind of agreed on. So for us, I think the next stage is we want to show real use cases. We want people to actually say, how are you using it? What benefit have you seen? What challenges maybe did you actually come up across when you were trying to kind of include AI into your business model? Um, so I wouldn't say it's a change in topic, but it's definitely the next step and evolution of that conversation in particular, and being careful not just to have a panel of everyone saying, yes, we need to use AI. And that one in particular is, I think, something to be cautious of.
Yeah, it is. And I think it was 2 years ago, maybe it wasn't your event. It was, I can't remember which one it was. But there was a panelist of speakers, and they were talking about AI, and it was still kind of stuck on, well, we use it for newsletters, to generate newsletters. We use it to,
Yeah.
for uh, job descriptions, and then there was one gentleman who I know well now, Omri, from V, and who was like, well, this is how we do it, actually better health outcomes. They were talking about the data analysts and the like very deep
Yeah.
AI work, right? Which I thought was like, I'm like, there it is. It's
Yeah.
like, that's the kind of stuff that we need to be talking about more, is like, how do we actually take data, mine it properly, clean it, utilize it in a way to get better health outcomes for our communities. And that's ultimately
Yeah.
what I want to see. I mean, do you have anybody that you can mention that will be speaking on AI? Yeah. Can you talk about those speakers? It's
Yeah, I
okay if
mean,
you don't.
there's a few different, I guess, I don't want to kind of rule them all off. There's a few different
Sure.
across our agenda. We have one particular conversation that I would say, most excited about, is kind of the use of AI. Again, touching on gamification, because I do
Mm,
find that topic something that's going to be, I think, really more and more use cases coming up in the next few years. And there are some really cool innovations in that space. But the use of AI, and more around the benefits of it, in terms of how can you use it for personalization. If you're a gym, how can you use it to best understand a customer journey? How can you best understand, what actually, where are you losing your customers? In terms of gamification, how can that open up a new pool? So that's one particular session that I am excited about. But in honesty, it crops up across quite a few of our conversations. So I won't spill too much on the speakers, but some of them have already been announced. So if people, I think we might be sharing the agenda with this, they can have a proper look through.
yeah, awesome. And you mentioned gamification a couple of times. What is it specifically that gets you really excited about that?
I I like the aspect of gamification, because going back to, again, the fact that I think there's a huge pool, especially in America. There's a huge pool of people, right, that are not at all physical active. They don't have any kind of involvement in the gym. It's not, maybe not been any interest for them up to this point. And for me, gamification is completely changing the model and also the mindset. So it's, people sometimes, if you're not someone that enjoys fitness, not everyone does enjoy fitness. Not everyone feels the endorphins, right? That's obviously, it's true. Not everyone gets the same buzz that maybe our community feels of working out. So that makes it more fun for that audience. And if you can open up even just a few more percentage of people that are inactive through gamification, then the difference that will make for the health system already, like we touched on before, but the difference it will make there, but also for gyms, studios, workout classes, for our community, it's just going to open up a whole new pool of revenue. And yeah, some of the demos I've seen are so cool. I saw I had a demo from a company yesterday that walked me through, and it was like a game around nutrition. And I think that alone, like, for some people, that's, I mean, I hate to say it, but some people that probably is quite boring for, to read up about nutrition and what's good for your body and all these
Oh, for
different things
sure.
and what effects everything has. But to make it into a game, I just think it's the best way to get people more excited about it, if this is not your passion. So yeah, that's where I am. I also think the innovation in the gamification side, there's a lot of kind of companies I've seen, or yeah, new products I've seen, that I think are just a little bit more ahead in terms of new technologies and innovation than other areas. To me, some of it is very futuristic, and it is, a lot of it's still in build. But I think across kind of 2025, especially the end of 2025 going into 2026, that's when we're going to start to see a lot more kind of really cool new products coming through. And yeah, I just personally, just from my own point of view, I just find it all very exciting.
Yeah. No, it's great. I mean, it's a really good point. I mean, we haven't really cracked the nutrition thing in decades and decades of trying, like, how do we
Yeah.
get people interested in nutrition, educated about nutrition? It's so confusing on the landscape. It's not sexy, like,
Yeah.
having to like document your meals and your food and measuring things. It's like it's no wonder we lose so many people in that process.
Yeah.
It could be better. So yeah,
Yeah.
I'm excited for that as well. Um, Walk us through like the experience of the event. Like how many days, like, what's, how much of it is, obviously you guys have well thought out topics that are very, valuable to people who are making decisions in this industry. But yeah, what is it? How many days, how much is networking? How much is an event? Like speaking? What's
Yeah,
the
yeah,
deal?
absolutely. So I think it's a 3 days event. We
Okay.
have one more kind of pre-day kickoff day where we will have some kind of workout classes. We're going to do a Hollywood hike to kick that off. Just like a more active way of networking, getting people to chat and getting people to know each other. We have Mariana Tech are kindly hosting a pre-day workout class with Inner Barry's, which will be super fun. And then we have some workshops and some closed door activities and some drinks. So that's our pre-day. It's very much around getting people to start the connecting and networking side, and then kicking off with an opening drinks reception. Um, and then we go on to the 2 main days on the 12th and the 13th. It's a real mix. We have the curated content program. I know we've heavily spoken about that, but that is one piece. There will be a lot of time where, no content is running, and that is purely for the networking time. It's for people to go around and see, our exhibitors will, a lot of them will have products to bring and showcase and things to demo. So it's to go around and try out those equipments and try out and test some of those softwares and how they work. And a big part for us is the one-to-one meetings. So all our partners, everyone there is very open to networking. We're very clear from the start that if you're not interested in connecting and talking to people and finding partners, this maybe isn't the right event, because that's what we're all about. And I think as well for us, because I think you kind of alluded to at the start, we are very focused on a certain level of um, attendee. So we are very C-suite focused. We're very founder focused. Um, Sometimes, presidents or VPs of partnerships or strategy, but we are very also curated on not only the content, but who we have in the room. And I think because it is that level of seniority, people are so open to connecting and sharing with each other and sharing thoughts and knowledge and experiences. And off the back of that, partnerships also naturally blossoming. That really helps people to be open to connecting, because no one's going to jump on you and heavily sell. It's not that kind of format. We're not like a trade show style, for example. It's much more about, that kind of higher level conversation. So the one-to-one meetings for us is a huge part of that, and being able to pre-arrange your meetings and kind of schedule time with specific people you want to connect with, or specific prospects for your business. That's a part of it that is huge, separate to the content. And when we have specific breaks in the content for that to be happening. So yeah, we're a real mix. It's the curated content's huge, but of course it's a fitness event, it's a health event. Everyone wants to network and chat, and we have a lot of ways of doing that.
And you guys, from what I remember, you guys have like an app for the event that
Yeah,
that helps with the meetings and things like that. Is that correct?
yeah, absolutely. So it's almost, I guess, a bit of like a meeting scheduler. You go
Hmm.
on, you can see everyone in the room. Something else we're doing for next year, which is a bit different, is we are focusing more on profiling. So kind of better understanding the audience. So you can kind of see, who's there for what, maybe categories are they looking to meet, maybe what partnerships are they looking for, maybe what are they investing in, those types of things from a profiling point of view, just to support on our community meeting the best people for their business and what they're looking for. But yeah, that platform is where you see everyone in the room. You can pre-schedule your meetings, you set things up, you connect. And then, for our point of view, it's, you've got the natural networking, you've got the drinks, you've got the time to go around the exhibitor floor and the networking floor, and there'll be lunches and dinners and round tables and whatever else. So you'll naturally meet people. But your top targets, for a fact you've kind of got them booked in. So it's a
Cool.
nice cover of both.
Yeah. Now you guys are making some upgrades this year to like the actual size of the event, the venue, and things
Yeah.
like that, right? I think you said the exhibitor hall may be a little bit bigger or more
Yeah.
prominent. Like, what? Yeah, what are some of the big upgrades on the physical space?
Yeah, for sure. So we're actually moving venue for 2025. We're moving to the Fairmont Century Plaza in Beverly Hills.
Nice.
There's a few reasons for it. One of them is, like you said, we are growing. We are growing by about 130 people. So it's still kind of targeted growth in specific areas or specific companies that we feel we need to have in the room. But that is growth. And people that maybe were there in this year, yeah, 2024, will probably remember the main content room started to get a little bit snug. Sometimes if it was packed out, you had people standing at the back, it's a great problem to have. But yeah, we need to kind of upgrade that space to accommodate for the growth. Um, but additionally, in terms of the networking floor, we want to keep it one big room where the meetings are happening, the exhibitors are, where everything's in that room to support the natural footfall. But also, we want to make it more experiential for 2025, which is something I'm excited about. So a lot of our partners are bringing products this year, more than previously. We haven't as much pushed that historically, and that's been a part of the feedback. Is we have a lot of these partners that have spaces. What bring the products? People want to try them. People want to test them. It's that kind of audience. So yeah, people that can kind of bring products, showcase it. People can demo and trial them on the kind of networking floor. That's a big part of 2025, and just having a bit more of an experiential feel to the networking floor as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. I've never been to the Fairmount. I'm excited. I mean, it's got to be nice. It's Beverly
Yeah,
Hills, right?
yeah, it's great, and it's got a lovely kind of I think fitness and gym area as well, which is important. So also upgrading on
Yeah.
that for the attendees.
Yeah. It's always funny when you go to a fitness or health industry event and you try to go to the hotel gym in the morning and you're like, I always walk in, I'm like, it's packed. I'm like,
Yeah,
going for a run. Going for a
yeah,
run.
yeah,
So for people who want to learn more about this, Cara, there's connectedhealthandfitness.com, right? And I think what you guys do is you get people to download the agenda if they want to learn more. What's the next action for people to take here?
for sure. I think firstly, yeah, absolutely download the agenda. But I mean, if hopefully, if I'm getting tagged in this, guys can message me
Hmm.
directly or find me that way. I'm obviously from the Connected Health and Fitness side, I lead the partnerships, so
Okay.
I can share anything around how people can get involved and what different opportunities there are, and answer kind of any questions from that point of view as well. So yeah, website, download the agenda, but also sometimes if it's easier just to get in touch directly with me, and I'm always happy to hop on calls and talk things through. Open to anyone that wants to find out a bit more.
Awesome. And what's the best way for them to get a hold of you? Or
Um,
are you?
yeah, I'm on LinkedIn, so Cara Fautley, quite simply. I can share that with you, Eric, and maybe we can tag it so people can kind
Yeah.
of link through. Also, yeah, I can maybe send over email address to put in this as well. Happy for people to kind of reach out directly. Yeah, email, LinkedIn, whatever's easiest, and happy to answer any questions or set up any time with people that are interested to find out more.
Awesome. Well, I'm excited for it. I'm going to get this week too. I think I'm going to start looking at my travel and getting this booked in with flights and all that. It's a lot of fun.
Amazing.
I'll be there recording a couple interviews for sure and meeting new people and trying to figure out what's the future of fitness. It never ends. So
That's what we're all doing. We're all trying to work it out. Yeah, I'm super excited. I'm super excited. And look, the other thing is, it's a great few days. It's a lot of networking, a lot of connecting, the content, but also it's fun. I mean, from my point
Yeah,
of view, the
it is.
fitness, I love the fitness and whole community in general because they're also just a fun bunch, right? People want to go for drinks after, there's dinners, there's lunches. The other thing we didn't touch on is it's the first Connected Health and Fitness Awards for 2025, which
Oh
will
yeah.
be super fun. Just another way to showcase innovation outside of our, obviously, the innovation showcase we do. So yeah, there's new stuff popping up. There's more socials than ever. Yeah, I'm super excited as well, and it's nice for me because obviously in London, it's nice to get a trip to LA. So
Yeah.
hopefully it's sunny.
Yeah, it's February. It's hit or miss, but generally, I mean, LA is always good. Yeah, and people, if you win an award, don't say I'm humbled to get this because there's nothing humbling about getting an award. It's the complete opposite. Like, stop saying that. It's like a pet peeve of mine. So just say I'm honored.
Yeah,
You don't have to say
and I'm
humbled.
great, and
So
I deserve this.
yeah,
Yeah,
and I'm awesome. That's why I'm up here, and you're not.
yeah,
Right.
losers.
So anyway, Kara, thank you so much for doing this. Once again, very excited for the event, and you guys do a good job. And yeah, we'll be talking to you soon, ladies and gentlemen. Kara
Thanks
Fautley.
so much, Harry. This has been really fun. Thanks for having me.
There we go.